Yes, welcome back to AI in Recruitment, your go-to podcast for the latest technology, recruitment, and innovation stuff that we want to share. Those worlds don't always coincide, but on this podcast, we think they do. My name is Jasper Spanjaart, joined as always by my co-host, Martijn Hemminga.
Yes, hi everyone. We're back, not in the studio today. We're remote together. I'm here in Utrecht, and you are nowadays in.
Yeah, let's just say near Tilburg, because otherwise people are going to be confused as to where I live. And we don't want to give because if I say where I live, you're going to probably find me because it's not that big of a place.
But it's a nice place.
It's a very nice place, near nature and stuff. And we've got birds flying around, nice trees, all that good stuff.
Okay, here in Utrecht, they're already all dead. So,
no, that's good news. Yeah, it's not good news.
Yes, but not talk about birds. We're talking about AI in recruitment, and today we'll dive into the finalists of the Benelux AI in Recruitment Award, the second edition. Last year we did it the first time. We've got some groundbreaking AI news, and of course our ChatGPT news segment. And at the end of the show, we've got some big news to announce.
It's news galore. It's sort of everything happening in one episode. Lots of good stuff to look forward to. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, because we are very happy that this podcast is sponsored by 8Fans. It's the official sponsor of the AI and Recruitment podcast. They're a market leader in recruitment. They've trained their AI on a staggering 85 million resumes. If you want to let 8Fans accurately predict the best job for your candidates, go to 8fans.com to read more about their solutions. All right, you've mentioned it already. Let's get started with the finalists for the Benelux AI and Recruitment Award 2024. Like you said, it's the second edition of this award, sort of recognizing the best AI applications or recruitment tools or cases in that sense. So we've got 6 contenders for 2024, which is quite exciting. And it's a very sort of broad field of companies. We can name them and we can just go through them sort of one by one. So the first one would be Oranje Groep. It's a Dutch company because it sounds very Dutch and it is very Dutch. The second one is No Milk Today. PostNL, the local postal service here in Holland. Into Dialogue is another one. Simple, guys from Belgium, and The Selection Lab. Those are the 6 contenders, and we'll sort of go, I think, through them one by one.
Yeah.
Is that a good idea? Yeah.
Yeah, we will, and these 6. Nominees are split into 2 groups. We've got the cases. So the Oranje Group, No Milk Today, PostNL, they are nominated with a case. And Into Dialogue, Simple, and the Selection Lab are nominated as a tool. So let's start with Oranje Group. For abroad listeners, it's the Orange Group.
Orange Group, yeah.
Orange Group, maybe they are international, I know, but it's the Oranje Group. Oranje Group. They faced the challenge of manage large-scale recruitment processes across 10 countries. And they are with a small team, so they integrated Recrubo.ai. It's conversational AI slash that's the new word for the old-fashioned chatbot, but it's more than
just and it's more than just a chatbot. Yeah.
And they integrated with CareerX and ATS, focused on agencies, to fully automate the recruitment workflow. And this includes the job listings, translate them, screening candidates, scheduling interviews via WhatsApp, and redirecting candidates to other roles if they don't meet the requirements for the specific job they applied for. So in just 6 months, 3 recruiters processed over 15,000 candidates.
Crazy. Yeah, that's very impressive. And I think shout out to Recrubo, because that's a startup that we've covered right from the beginning. I'm not just biased because I live near where they're based, but their based operations in Tilburg.
Tilburg rules, yeah.
Very good company. I think Niels Tucker is a good CEO with good leadership there. Definitely a company you want to follow. Next, we have No Milk Today, a recruitment specialist active in the Netherlands, Asia, and the US. So basically all over the place. They, again, also implemented an ATS platform Biner in this case, which uses AI to automate interviews, generate transcripts, and even analyze personality traits and competencies from audio. So that's pretty exciting. And that's also, I think, where recruitment is sort of headed in terms of, moving away from a generic CV motivation cover letter, and integrating with tools like this that are able to, help companies, but also help job seekers. And they're developing AI models tailored for psychometric analysis and communication style, stuff like that. It's all very exciting, and I think it's a tailor-made case for the AI and Recruitment Benelux Award. I think it's perfect to have this sort of case as part of the final six.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I read "No Milk Today," I've got the song in my head. So no milk today, and also nice because in September the Biner ATS they announced they launched an end-to-end AI agent within their
Yeah.
ATS platform. They couldn't participate in the AI in Benelux AI Recruitment Award, combined with the Recruitment Tech Awards, because it's part of that. It's an event. The 7th of November, we will announce the winners from the awards. And for the second time now, it's the AI Recruitment Award. But it was too late to participate in this. But maybe next year, Biner will also be in the third edition.
Yep.
We should evaluate first the second edition, but maybe we should do the third
I think there's a big chance of
next
the
year.
third one
Why
happening. Yeah.
not?
Why
Yeah.
not?
Okay, then the third case is the PostNL, the Dutch Post, and they had capacity issues. Too many applicants, ghosting, high competition for this kind of jobs. So
Yeah.
they developed a digital recruiter named Charlie. And they did that in partnership with Scotty AI. Charlie can handle everything a human recruiter would do, from screening to cross-selling, but on a massive scale, not only on normal working hours, but 24 hours a day. And the massive scale, 500 conversation, they can do 500 conversations simultaneously and all without bias. And you can do it via WhatsApp, but also via voice. So they can, after you make an application, within a couple of minutes, there will be a WhatsApp, or maybe via you will be phone ringed. How you say that? You will be called by a robot named Charlie to do some pre-screen questions, to look whether they can help you with a job.
Yeah, like the 500,000 conversations simultaneously. That is that's a
Then you
lot.
need a lot of recruiters for.
Yeah. So another contender is Into Dialogue. They offer so this is the first tool, not per se a case. They offer an AI-driven tool that records, summarizes, and analyzes interviews. I would say it's a very powerful tool that integrates with phone and online conversations. And through that, they're able to provide detailed reports on candidates, again including those psychometric insights that you want. And also they sort of, the fun part I think about Interdialogue is that they also help the recruiter, so they give a sort of overview as to sort of real loop feedback. How does the recruiter communicate, and how effective can that be? So I think it's a tool that very much works both ways. I know we've covered Interdialogue before on this podcast. We've talked to Roderick Bronsoir on the AI and Recruitment Outlook 2023. 2024. Yeah, oh geez, getting all the dates messed up now. 2024 now, and I think they're a very, very interesting company. Again, with some good leadership right at the top. So yeah, I'm excited to see them as a finalist.
Yeah. So let's go to the next one. Is Simple. It's a Belgian SaaS solution for recruitment marketing campaigns on social media, and it uses AI to help HR professionals without marketing knowledge creating effective campaigns, optimizing it with A/B testing, and behind that, it's there are data-driven algorithms. So that's always nice. But I was also there when they presented to the jury. And it was great to see if you got some in a couple of minutes. You've got some animation, and it's not part of this competition, but they also now have the possibility to make animated video for social media campaigns. So now it's more images, but there also will be more video with it generated with AI.
Yeah, you know my stance on that, but it's no, it's good to have them
It's not
aboard.
as
So
good as you,
it's not
but
as good as the real humans do. But anyway, it's good to have a shout out to them though. They're the only Belgian company on this list.
yeah,
And yeah, last year we had during the Recruitment Tech Awards we had a Belgian company win as well in House of Talents. So be interesting to see if the Belgian winning sort of commands us. But it's
yes.
fun to see.
And the
And the
tool
last one,
we
yep,
also had the both the winners were as
true.
best case and best tool were both from
Initi-
Belgium.
So the Belgians are doing something right.
Yes.
We can all learn from Belgium. Here we have it, folks.
Yeah.
And finally, the last finalist for the Benelux AI and Recruitment Award is the Selection Lab. The Selection Lab has developed video assessments using generative AI in over 40 languages. Again, specified tailored towards high volume recruiting. And these assessments measure personality and cognitive skills, and they offer, I would say, sort of more personalized and efficient screening process. Again, another good company based in Amsterdam. But it's yeah, it's a rich list of finalists. I think we probably won't be making any predictions because that would seem a bit weird, even though we have absolutely nothing to do with picking the winner. So we could make a prediction, but I don't know if we want to.
Yeah, we will know the 7th of November.
That's when
Then
we'll know.
yeah, and good to know this is a jury prize. So
Exactly.
the jury consists of 5 members who made the decision. One of these 6 nominees will win the second Benelux AI in Recruitment Award.
Exciting. Very exciting. I think
I hear something.
you hear something again.
ChatGPT news.
Yeah, so since the inception of this podcast, we've tailored a particular news segment around OpenAI and ChatGPT because, well, they were the first ones, so they're worthy of their own segment. And I think there was some big news coming out in the past a week or month, whenever you're listening to this, in the fact that OpenAI has raised a massive 6.6 billion in its latest funding round. So that brings the valuation of the company up to 150 billion. I think we've reached the numbers that are just incomprehensible. We go, well, million we can understand maybe. We know our local football team buys a striker for 1 million, but well, 150 billion seems like a lot. So major players like Microsoft, Nvidia, and SoftBank have all joined in, as Microsoft had already, of course. But the company's also shifting to a sort of full for-profit model. So whereas we've talked about OpenAI in the past, and it's been around, it being a slightly charitable cause, and we're doing AI for good. That's all out the window. We're going full for profit now, and it's a sort of bold move, I think. So they're moving away from the cap profit model. They just want to secure deep pockets, essentially, to fund all their AI developments. But it's also raised some concerns because, especially around the safety and ethics, like if we're going to do not AI for good, but AI for profit. And again, their CTO it has departed again recently. They've had leadership changes that we've covered extensively over this podcast. Other senior exits. I think there's still turmoil behind the scenes, but they still are able to raise 6.6 billion. So I don't know, loads of stuff going on. But what's your take on all of
Yeah.
that, Martijn?
Well, it's a lot of money, and
Yes, it is.
later on we will discuss some new items they add to their solutions to ChatGPT, and it's very good, but it's also maybe a little bit worrying because everything they did the last couple of years with
Yeah.
more a non-commercial intention was good. So if shareholders' wishes are the most important, that might give some risk and ethical issues. So I don't know. I'm a little bit between. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will, and but it's definitely it feels like a very important time for them. Like they've also this coincides with them launching a safety and security committee, which I'm also sort of skeptical about because
Yeah.
Sam Altman has stepped down from it to sort of maintain its independence. But then again, everyone still wants to please Sam Altman, so it doesn't feel like him stepping away from the safety and security committee is suddenly going to realize this important part of their general safety and security concerns. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Tech giants like Meta and Google are ramping up their own AI development. Meta's launched their multimodal platform Llama 3.2. We're expecting new releases from Google soon. Even though if I'm comparing the capabilities of all these generative AI tools, which I'm constantly doing, and I know you're constantly doing, it feels like ChatGPT is very much stayed the same. I've improved a little bit. For me, Google, what used to be Google Bard, which is now Google Gemini, for me is worsened. It's become much worse in generating the right stuff that you want, listening to the
Mhm.
right prompts. But it'll be interesting to see where this all goes. But yeah,
Yeah,
be interesting.
we will follow this
Of
every
course, we will.
month.
Yeah.
So my news: OpenAI is launching a new model called O1, the first in planned series of reasoning models designed to answer complex questions and to get to know more about a little bit the black box we are all talking about, not knowing. We make a prompt, we got some outcome, but what's done in the black box of OpenAI, and it's also for the other large language models. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And this is it's interesting to see because it make all the prompt outcomes, it's very slow because it's reasoning in front of you, and you got a lot of sub steps saying what he or she is doing. Some people, or what do you call it? He, him, her, she, it.
Nothing. I've
Some
not
some people
gender.
have really, they
I've
say
not
him or
genderized
her
my
or no.
AI.
Okay,
No,
we call
I
it
think that's just
X. Oh
we'll
no,
call it
X,
X. No,
something
X is
something
no.
different.
Let's not delve into X. No.
No. Um, um, and this is inderdaad the strawberry model people talking about. So I've tried it once, but it for a simple prompt, and it took 25 seconds. So 10 years ago, when you Google something, it also takes maybe
That took
25
25 seconds.
seconds.
Yeah.
Now you think about after two seconds, you already think, come on,
Do
can
I
it
need to
be
refresh the
quicker?
page? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not something for me for using it for a lot of content, but also as a recruiter, you want maybe some great written uh, job listing, or you're making personas for
Yeah.
a recruitment marketing campaign, or maybe you want to discuss the input for a recruitment strategy. But maybe it's nice you can change between the different versions of ChatGPT. It's for Plus and Team users. So together with my team, we've got a team edition, and it's all still a little bit. It's a preview, so it's new. And it's also possible for the for developers to use it with tokens, etc. We talked about it. It's
Yeah.
still for me a little bit about the token thing, because not one prompt is not one token; it's more,
Still a
etc.
bit
So
confusing here.
it's for me, it's confusing.
No, I agree, and we'll be testing that new O1 model, of course, for all things sort of in recruitment, because it's sort of it shows we try to show the application side of it. We try to show what it is that you can exactly do with it. But we'll do that in an episode. I think coming to you soon. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and ChatGPT also launched the beta version of ChatGPT Canvas. It offers several benefits because it's more visual way of the content separately, making it from the prompt. So it's better for editing during the prompt. So it's not how do you say that beneath everything. We've got some long list of inputs, so it's on the side.
Right.
It keeps the content visible throughout the conversation, so it's you have to scroll less, and it's making it easier to reference the drafts, for example. So I tried it already, but it didn't work for me yet, but for recruiters, it would be great because if you're making drafts for job postings, candidate emails, interview scripts, etc., it's great for quick iteration and better organization what you're working on.
Yeah, I mean, we'll always sort of see whether these, it feels like they're doing loads of stuff at once. They're launching new, better tools of this, new, better tools of that. But as you've just said, I think the biggest takeaway for me so far with all of these tools is that I generally don't see an improvement from just the average GPT-4 model that OpenAI has put out to the world. So. They need to book improvements. I think they need to make improvements because otherwise, I feel like, especially for text creation, I've very much gone away from ChatGPT. I'm all in on Claude AI as the by far the better model. So
Yeah.
yeah, but we'll see because we keep talking about the same thing, like in ensuring that it saves time in creating a vacancy text. But if that vacancy text is still shit, then what are we doing? So, yeah,
I,
well, again,
yeah. Well, we maybe we can, because their voice is getting, in my opinion, is getting better and better.
that's true.
So let's ask ChatGPT. Hi, ChatGPT. I'm here in the podcast with Jasper.
Great to be part of your podcast with Jasper. What can I help you with today?
Well, Jasper is a little bit disappointed about your quality of content.
Progress.
Yeah, the progress in making a better quality content within ChatGPT.
I understand. AI language models like me are always improving, but there can still be limitations in content quality. Feedback like this helps us get better. If there are specific areas where you think improvement is needed, I'd love to hear about them.
Can you please whisper a little bit?
Got it, I'll whisper. If there are specific aspects of content quality you'd like to discuss, or areas where you feel improvement is needed, I'm here to listen. We can
Okay.
delve into any concerns you have about AI's performance.
I think they just want free consultancy.
Do you want free consultancy of us?
I don't require consultations, but I'm here to provide information and assistance. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to discuss regarding AI, recruitment, or any other subject, feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you. And one last thing. Can you be more, sound more happy, more cheerful?
Absolutely. I'll bring in more cheerful energy. If there's anything else you need, just let me know.
Okay, and more sad or angry?
I can definitely adjust my tone. If there's a specific mood or style you're looking for, feel free to guide me, and I'll do my best.
Oh, this is just
Okay, thank you.
horrible. This is just,
You're
yeah.
welcome. If you need
The.
anything else,
No. We're set. We're set. We're good. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay,
No. Yeah. Well,
it's nice to play with it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't
in
changed my mind.
podcasts like
Yeah,
this.
no, it's funny. It's definitely funny. Like, and it automatically adjusts. Like you asked it to whisper, and then you started talking out loud again, and it responded by talking out loud again. So it's not just responding to your commands; it's also responding to your tone, which is mental. But it's good. It's interesting.
This is getting better, but it's
Yes, but it's just saying out loud what it's always set in the browser.
yeah,
So for me, it's just a translation of the same stuff but through audio. And yeah, the audio capabilities are quite cool, and yeah, we can play around with that. But again, where's the benefit? Like, where's the benefit for you? Is a recruiter going to go, "Oh, I don't fancy talking today. Here, Chat GPT, you do it."
yeah,
Like, and talk like serious but not too stern, and be nice to the candidate. Like, I don't know.
yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, be good to discuss something else sent in by our monthly audio guest, the man who was on a couple of episodes ago. It was very interesting to talk
Yeah,
to, Lawrence
live.
Warling, chief evangelist for Advance, and he sent in a letter. He talked about a letter about sent in by some prolific companies to the European Commission. So let's hear what he has to say.
This month, an open letter was sent to the EU, signed by companies like Meta, Spotify and Advance. It has appeared in major European newspapers and shared with politicians, warning that Europe could fall behind in AI development without clear and consistent rules. You can find it at euneedsai.com and in papers like the Financial Times and Le Monde. Right now, privacy regulators are stopping companies from using personal data to train AI models. This affects companies like Meta, X, and Advance. For example, technology that could help match people with jobs is being blocked due to too strict privacy rules. By the end of this year, the European Data Protection Board will decide how data can be used to train AI. If they require consent in every case, it will make training AI models nearly impossible. Once data is in the model, it can't be removed, so consent can't be withdrawn. It's time to let regulators know enough is enough. We should be embracing AI and its possibilities, not holding it back. Europe must move forward with AI.
Yes.
What's your reaction to
Okay.
that?
I have mixed feelings when I hear this.
Yeah.
On one hand, I think it's good that we have regulations, the AI acts from the European Union, data privacy, GDPR, etc., etc.
Sure.
And on the other hand, if you already look at all the investments in AI companies, you see it's 2/3 of all the money is invested in the US. So, and I think the too strict regulations is moving all the investments to outside the EU. But if you look at the past, otherwise, then you can see, for example, also when the GDPR was implemented, everybody was angry, and
Yep.
and now you see that every vendor is GDPR proof, because if you have customers in Europe, you have to
Yep.
comply to it. I think that will also finally will be for this EU AI Act. Everybody wants. Nobody wants to scare European customers because they are also important. But if you look at the innovation part, it's also the money follows where the innovation is.
Yeah.
Then I think it's not good, and then I can understand them, but I think at the end, everybody will comply to this. What do you think?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think, yeah, I can see
Oh,
both
I think your
sides.
mic is still.
Is it still on? Can you hear me?
Is it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, we'll cut that out. No, I think I can very much see both sides of the argument. I think legislation and something like the AI Act is very necessary in terms of scaling down use cases that aren't for good. Like we've talked about AI for good or AI for profit. And I think it's a very big distinction, because if we're doing tools that can help us screen thousands and millions of I don't know, pictures of breast cancer or like something like that, and we can use that to discover it faster and in a more efficient way. Brilliant. That's a brilliant use case, and I think everyone would say, well, we comply with that. But I think the issue lies in where we make that distinction. Where do we view AI as being something that is used for good, for the good of the people, versus the profit of companies aiming to use it? For me, like, yeah, there are plenty of use cases, and we'll delve into some nice use cases later from different fields of the world. But it's tough because you if you tell me like, oh, Meta signed that petition, I go, yeah, well, that's great. I don't think Meta are doing AI for good. I think Meta is all about Meta. I think Meta is all about profit.
Yeah.
So it's tough because you almost want to have a label, a sort of like independent label where you go, this company's actually trying to do the right thing with AI. And yeah, they can make a bit of profit along the way. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but it's important to make the distinction between companies that are solely there using AI for profit and just trying to make a quick buck versus companies that are using it for good. And that's where I see the legislation as being a very important part of that discussion. But perhaps it's not the answer that we're all looking for. But in terms of it shying people, like companies away and profit away from the continent of Europe, that to me is bullshit. Because as you just mentioned, all of those American suppliers of tech will want to get into Europe at some point because it's a market that you can't afford to let go. Europe is too big to go, well, we don't need that. We can go elsewhere. Like with all the turmoil in the world, you cannot look past Europe if you want to build a worldwide successful case for your business. If you want to stick to the US, that's great. But I know the EEOC is also doing plenty of stuff there to make sure that AI is used very fairly. And if you talk to them, they'll probably say that their way of cutting down and their legislation is harsher in some aspects than the AI Act. So it's a big discussion, but I think it's important that we realize that we make a decision between which companies are doing it for good and which companies are solely doing it for profit. I would say that's my biggest takeaway.
No, I agree.
That's a bit too loud there.
AI news.
So let's transition from AI to more AI. And in this segment, as we've just alluded to, we share more general AI news that stood out to us most. Martijn, what have you got for us?
Yes, I've got a plenty of energy. The energy consumption of data centers is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So it's a trend that is expected to accelerate in the coming years due to the use of artificial intelligence. And it's if you do a prompt in ChatGPT, for example, it costs 30 times more energy than if you do it via Google, for example. So this could potentially result in a polluting power plants remaining open for longer. So the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant shut down in 2019, and it seems to be for good. But the American plant was no longer profitable. Because the plant was not longer profitable. But now, 5 years later, the area of ChatGPT has arrived, and it might be reopened in 2028 with Microsoft. Hey, Microsoft, we know them.
Microsoft, we've heard them.
We know them. So one of the big companies behind OpenAI. Committing to purchase all the energy for 20 years. You sorted this out because they produce twice as much electricity as the nuclear power plant in the Netherlands.
The only nuclear power plant in the Netherlands.
In Borssele.
No, but it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I think the energy consumption, like we live in a time where we are trying to pursue every measure to make sure that we don't overuse, and we make sure that we shut down certain plants that are great for the planet. But it seems like AI has sort of thrown that out the window for some companies at least. And they're like, yeah, well, we need the energy, like we need the data, we need to be able to run these data centers. I don't think people are fully aware. Like we've delved into that before in a prior podcast, like if I remember correctly. Like the energy usage of using AI, like you need to be aware that every prompt that you put in is not just like it almost appears magically on your screen, and that's great. But it's like all these every prompt, it costs energy,
Yeah.
and we're not per se paying for that energy because we've got plenty of people just use free subscriptions to OpenAI's models, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. Everything seems free and seems magical, but this costs a lot of money and it costs a lot of energy. So I think it's very important to be wary of that. And I can't wait for the first, the first AI model that is sort of carbon free. That would be great if that were to happen. But we're still some years away from that.
And I'm aware of this, so I'm very thinking about, can I do this? For example, if I know some of my colleagues are looking for restaurants via ChatGPT, and then I say go to Google.
Google's been there. Google is there. Yeah.
So
exactly.
Think before you prompt.
Think before you prompt. Here's some wise lessons from Martijn Hemminga. And let's talk about Hurricane Milton next, because I just alluded to use cases where I think AI is very interesting. Hurricane Milton became the 5th hurricane to make landfall in the US this year. Thanks for the sound effects there, Martijn. You're getting the spatial experience here. But these storms get stronger, more frequent. Luckily, I would say luckily, but it wasn't as bad as first predicted. But AI is becoming a sort of crucial element in tracking and predicting these storms and hurricanes. And traditionally, meteorologists used complex models based on wind, temperature, humidity, and it took hours to update. But with AI and machine learning, forecasts are now much faster and sometimes generated in seconds. And here's the thing, they're quite accurate too. These AI models use a vast amount of data from past storms to recognize patterns that are hard to spot, offering predictions days before the storm hits. And I came across a nice interview with a meteorologist in Time magazine. And he said, in terms of hurricanes, Matt Lanza is his name to give him some credit. In terms of hurricanes, AI modeling can now compete with traditional methods. So he views it as a must-use tool. But despite its success, of course, the technology still has plenty of hiccups. In 2024, a study took place, so this year, that some machine learning models failed to register damaging surface winds and other sort of unusual aspects of storms. But Lanza says AI models tend to underestimate the intensity of hurricanes, so they struggle with that. But please tell me if the following sounds familiar. Because of these errors, Lanza says it's crucial for meteorologists not to solely rely on AI forecasting. So if you sort of say meteorologist and you scratch that, you say recruiters, same lesson applies.
Yes.
But Lanza says, I think it was a good quote. We're not turning the reins over to these things and just saying, make me a forecast and I'll just repeat it. You still have to look at the broader spectrum of tools available to you and make a human decision. Well, there we go, folks. I think if we wanted the lesson from meteorologists, there it is. But I think it's a brilliant use case in terms of, if we live we're very fortunate to live in a part of the world where we don't have to worry about storms hitting us. I've seen plenty of documentaries about Tornado Alley, and just cities where, we've seen it with Katrina in the past in New Orleans, and it's just like a hurricane can come and it can just ruin people's lives. It can, it's killed people, this one too. And if we can use AI for something like that, and we can help people, evacuate earlier and better, and because you never know where a storm is going to be making landfall. So for this storm, they were able to predict it so narrowly, so accurately where it was going to hit and which places and how bad it was going to be at some point. So it's just a great use case, I think.
Yeah, it is. Okay. We're gonna do it again. Our second live online talk show, AI and Recruitment Outlook 2025. Next year in January, the 30th of January from our studio in Utrecht. This year it was the 1st of February. That's better for me.
1st of February, January 30. Just say January
the day
30.
before the 1st of February. No, 2 days before the 1st of February. You can already register via our website and also watch the replay of this year. So if you want the live talk show, it's a podcast. You can look, you can watch it back, the replay. Go to our website, ai-in-recruitment.com. And then you can see the Outlook 2025 in the menu, and also in the pull-down menu, you can go to the edition of this year. Next year, we also have the first guest we can announce. It's about legislation, a lawyer, Inge Brattinga. So she will talk to us about the latest news about legislation, AI, the EU AI Act, etc., etc.
I think it's brilliant, and I think the last year we sort of proved the value in terms of that. I think we had over 600 registrations, which is not bad at all for a first attempt. Just two amateurs, well, not amateurs, but two people just trying to create a talk show for the first time. It was very good, and I look forward to who else we're going to get on the new talk show in 2025 on I was just about to say February 30th, but it's January 30th. Which is going to be very good. We're already working hard behind the scenes in getting as many interesting guests as possible. We'll try with a few different companies that you will have heard of. So it's going to be very good. Make sure you register via the link that Martijn has just mentioned, ai-in-recruitment.com, Outlook 2025, or Google it. You'll find it. It's very interesting, and I look forward to it very much so.
Yeah. And if you want to partner up with us, it's the perfect combination for international visibility, thought leadership, and also lead gen. Please contact us, go to our website, and you can also download the media kit with all the information about this live online talk show. So,
that's it, I think, for today's episode. Yeah. Don't forget about the Recruitment Tech Event 2024 either. It's a leading event on recruitment technology tomorrow. All the latest innovations, nice inspiring demo talks, and network of industry experts. Event takes place on November 7th at the Fabriek in Utrecht. Don't miss out. Sign up via recruitmenttech.nl. And we'll also be able to award the winner of the Recruitment AI and Benelux Award. So it'd be good to attend there and see all the innovations that recruitment has to offer.
Yes, and if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe. Just put your thumb up. Here, they do this. Yes,
tell your family.
A good review. You can also do it via Spotify now. I think not only
everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. Make sure you give us a good review, or don't give us a terrible review. That'd be a shame. Yeah.
Bye bye.
See you next time.